Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 45th tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we are going to check out the return statement. Now in the last tutorial we saw that while calling a function from the main function, you can pass values as arguments, right? And you can do that not only through the main function, but let's say you have a function called a in your program, and in that function you're calling a function called b, and if you want to pass values to b through a, then you can do that in the same way as we passed values from main to the function capitals in the previous tutorial, right? So it's not that that method would just apply if you would call a function from main. No matter what function you're calling from, you can follow that procedure, right? But what we're going to try to understand in this tutorial is how we can pass a value from the called function to the calling function, right? So as I said in the previous tutorial, if you wanted to pass a value from the capitals function to the main function, you had to use a statement called return, and that is what we're going to check out in this tutorial. So as you can see, using code blocks, I've saved a file. I've given it the name return underscore statement, and it has the extension .c. On line 1 in this file, I have my header file, and I don't have any more code. So we're going to type in all the code that we need for the program. Now what we're going to do in this program is have a function called add, and it's going to return a value of the integer data type. So firstly, we're not going to use the void data type while declaring the function. Also while defining it, we'll have to use in the keyword int, and also it's going to accept two arguments. It's going to accept values of two numbers, both will be integers, and it's going to add those values and return the value back to the calling function or the main function, right? So let's get started. I'll type in int, just a moment, let me get my cursor in the file. So int, and then the name of the function, which I said is going to be add, and then within parentheses I have to type in the keyword int twice. As I said earlier, this function is going to have two arguments. It's going to receive two arguments, so that's why you'll have to type in int twice, and that's going to complete the parameter list and the function declaration. So I'll put in a semicolon to terminate the statement. On the next line, I'll type in the keyword main, and then the parentheses for main, and then the curly braces, and I'll declare the variables that are going to hold the values of the numbers that we're going to pass to the add function. So I'll call my variables a and b, and also I'll create a variable called result, and this variable is going to hold the result of the addition of a and b, or in other words, you can say that it's going to hold the value that will be returned to us by the function add, right? On the next line, I'm going to ask the user to enter the numbers. So enter two numbers, and semicolon to terminate this statement. Then I'm going to use scanf to get the values of the two variables, and of course I'll have to type in the %d format specifier twice because a and b both are integers, and then the address of operator, the first variable, that's a comma, and then the ampersand symbol or the address of operator and the name of the second variable, which is b. On the next line, I'm going to call the add function with a and b as arguments, but since the function add is going to return a value, and since we would need some variable to store that value in, I'm not going to call the add function just like that. Instead, I'm going to assign the result of the calling of add function to the variable called result, right? So I've declared result already in the main function, and when I'll call add is going to add the values of a and b within its body, and then it's going to return the result of the addition, and that value will be stored in the variable result, and we're going to see how add is going to do what it's supposed to do, right? So the main function is not complete yet. We'll have one more statement in it, but before we type in the printf statement to display the result, let's first see the code that's going to be in the add function. So again, I'll type in int because add is going to return an integer, and then the name of the function, that's add, and I'll be needing dummy parameters here or formal parameters because the values of a and b have to be stored in local variables in the add function, right? So instead of just typing int twice, I'll type in int x and then int y, and this is going to complete the parameter list for the function definition. And then since x and y are going to have the values of a and b, to add them and then to store the value in something, I'm going to need a variable. I'll call it z, and on the next line I'll do the addition, and I'll assign the result of the addition to the variable z, and that's pretty simple, x plus y. That's all we need. And then I'll type in the keyword return, right? So this is new. We're checking out the return keyword for the first time, I guess, in this course. We haven't spoken about it, but its syntax was pretty similar. You type in return, and then you type in the name of the variable that you wish to return or the value that you wish to return, right? So it's pretty simple. You just type in return z, and this is going to do the job for you, right? So the add function is complete here, and as I said, we'll have to type in a printf statement in main to display the result of the addition operation. So within double quotes, I'll first have the new line escape sequence, and then I'll type in the result of addition operation is, I'll need the %d format specifier to display the value of the result variable on screen, and I'll put a semicolon to terminate this, and the program is complete. I'll click on build and run to see the output. There you go. In the output window, you see the message enter two numbers. So if I type in 10 and 5, I see that I get the message the result of the addition operation is 15, right? And let me execute the program again with different values. So 100 and 50, and you see that the result of the addition operation is 150. So what the add function is doing here is it's getting values from the main function, and x and y here are formal parameters and a and b are actual parameters. So we've asked the user to enter numbers, the user enters values, and those values are stored in the variables a and b using the scanf function. Then those values are passed as arguments to the function add, right? And a and b here are actual parameters, and the value of a gets copied to the variable x, the value of b gets copied to the variable y, and then inside the add function we have another variable called z, and z is going to store the result of the addition of x and y, right? So x and y are basically placeholders for values of a and b. So you're basically adding a and b here, and then you are returning the value of the addition back to the main function using the return statement, and that value is getting stored in the variable result, and then we're using printf to display the value of result. So I just wanted this tutorial to be simple. That's why I didn't think of doing something fancy, and I hope you guys have got a hang of the return statement, and we might be using it in this course a few more times. So if we add more functionality to it, or if we do something fancy using the return statement, then I'll point out the added functionality then and there. But for the time being, this is all you need to know about return, and thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Another thing that I want to tell you is that if suppose what you're returning is not of integer data type but is of float data type, then all you have to do is change the keyword int here to float, and also in the function declaration statement over here on line 2 you would have to change int to float. So you have to figure out the kind of value that your function is returning. So if it's returning an integer, you put an int. If it's returning a float, then you put in float. If it's returning double, then put double. Or if it's returning a character, then you put in a character. If it's returning nothing, then of course you know what you have to do. You have to put in void. So that's it. And in the next tutorial, we're going to check out something interesting for sure. So please stay tuned for updates and subscribe to my channel in case you haven't already. And I'll see you soon.